Hey guys, this is Leo, and welcome back to another top 10, where I'm going to talk about one of my personal favorite Mario Karts, Mario Kart Wii. So, I'm talking about the worst tracks. This pretty much means it's kind of lacking a few things, and they're really not as good as the other tracks. I'm counting both new ones and retro tracks just because some of the new ones are pretty good and are not really bad. So if your favorite track is on this list, maybe I just didn't like it as much, and that's why it's kind of on the list. And it's really sort of, and it's my list, so it's my opinion. So if your favorite track is on this list, maybe I just didn't like it that much. So without further ado, let's start with number 10. Number 10 is Desert Hills. This is not really a bad track, but just very bland. There's nothing really going for it, except for the enemies. The pokies are pretty easy to avoid, but the flames really have no pattern, so it's sort of annoying to pass by them and get hit by them. And towards the end, there are a few sharp turns, and if you get caught in the dirt, you're gonna probably get behind a little bit because you'll move so slow. But they're easy to go through if you have a mushroom or something like that. Other than that, it's a pretty okay track. This is one of my least favorite Bowser's Castles for obvious reasons. There's many sharp turns that get in the way, and the walls can too, that you just bump into them and slow down a little bit. And sometimes you fall into lava, and that's even worse. The swamps are also in the worst places because they're after when you're at a turn and they could easily squash you, even though they're kind of easy to avoid. There is that one ramp that leads to two thwomps, but if you're quick enough, you could easily avoid them. Other than that, it's just a sort of poorly designed. Yeah, I don't like this track too much. The main problem is if you're not paying attention, you could easily fall off the track and go behind very quick, and it's also really hard to catch up, probably because it's so long. And the area with mine carts is probably the worst area because if you bump into the carts, you could A, either get really far behind, or B, get hit by a minecart and fall off the track, which will get you further behind. And also, the shortcut is sort of hard to pull off, but when you do, you could get ahead pretty easily. Other than that, it's a pretty okay track. Number 7 is Peach Beach. The main problem with this track is the tire easily changes the layout of the track, and it'll be harder to avoid the cataquacks, which are easier to avoid, but if you get hit by them, you'll fall behind pretty quick because they toss you in the air, spending more of your time. And also, if you're not paying attention and are in the water, you slow down pretty easily, and if you don't have a mushroom, it's probably going to be hard to catch up or get out of the water quick enough. Other than that, it's just a really short track. Even though I like the creepy atmosphere of Ghost Valley 2, it's still not that good of a track because some of the turns are really sharp, and if you fall down, it's kind of hard to catch up because the track is very short and people could get the laps done pretty quickly. And the boxes fall randomly, which makes it harder to not fall off. And also, the item boxes, they're spread out, so it's kind of hard to get them. And there's not that many, so you can't get an item quick enough. Other than that, it's just a bad track. You need Sherbet Land will be on the list. The section with ice isn't too bad, but still hard to drive on because it's really slippery. But the penguins are very annoying because they have no real pattern, and if you bump into them, it's going to take a second or two for you to gain control of your track. The worst part is the cave because the walls are so close together, and there's also penguins there, so you could bump into them, bump in the wall, and it's just really hard to control through. But if you're like me, a more experienced player, you probably got used to it. And other than that, it's an okay track. Even though this is the first track of the game, Luigi's Circuit is still boring to play when you're an experienced player like me. Also, the track is very wide, which means it's easy for someone to pass you, and it's easy for someone to not hit a banana or a fake item box to slow them down. And there's not really that much going for it. But I do like the big statue of Luigi. That was a nice touch. Mario Circuit 3 is another boring track to play, but also kind of hard because the pipes could get in the way often, like when you're doing a turn, and the oil slicks are also annoying, good thing they're easy to avoid. But the main reason is halfway through this track, there's a big sharp turn which is like 180 degrees, and if you're not like good with drifting, you're gonna hit into the pipes and like get slowed down. And it just doesn't feel good when you crash into the pipes. I kinda don't get why some people like DK Jungle Parkway. Even though I haven't played Mario Kart 64, I still don't like this track. The only interesting thing is the jump over the river, and even then it's kind of boring, not like the canyons in DK Summit and DK Mountain. It would have been better to just have like an actual ramp so you could jump over it and do a trick. That would have been a better thing. And it's very easy to get caught in the track like at the turns, and it slows you down sort of a lot. And the cave in this thing has the same problem as the cave in Sherbet Land, but this time there's a huge turn, and if you bump into the wall, you like get bounced off and like lose a few seconds. And it's kind of just boring also because it's very long for some reason, and I don't get why. Maybe with all the turns I could see why, but I just didn't think it should be like a minute long per lap. Now, you probably know what number 1 is. Yoshi Falls is pretty much just a big ring, and that's it. There's nothing really interesting. Well, you can go through the water, but I think that's just worse than just going on the bridge because you won't get an item box, and I think it kind of slows you down. The part with the speed boost is fine, but if you don't like control it well, with the jump, you could fall off the bridge and lose a couple speed boosts, and that just doesn't feel good. And also, it's really hard to catch up with some people on this track for some reason. And it's also a Yoshi track, and I just feel bad for Yoshi to be associated with this track. I know there's a big Yoshi egg, and that's pretty much what's Yoshi about this track. So, what do you think is the worst Mario Kart Wii track? Do you think my list was accurate or completely wrong? I'll see you next time with a brand new video, and goodbye.